Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Linda Domholt, and I serve as the Chief Development Officer at the YWCA Minneapolis. And we are so grateful that you have chosen to spend an hour with us tonight. We know that this is a full and complicated season for many in our community, and tonight is meant to be a safe space, a space to hear directly from YWCA leadership and from program voices, a space to reconnect, especially for those of you who may have felt distance or uncertainty over the past few years, and a space to understand how YWCA Minneapolis has continued to show up for our community right now. At the end of this presentation, we'll move to a moderated question and answer. So throughout the hour, as you think of a question, please drop it into the chat, and we will try to answer as many of those as we can. If we're not able to answer everything live, we'll follow up afterwards. We're grateful you're here. Your presence really matters to us. And we hope this conversation leaves you feeling informed, grounded, and connected. So let's begin by welcoming our CEO, Shelley Carthen Watson.
For those of you who don't know me, I am Shelley Carthen Watson, and I have the pleasure of serving as the CEO of YWCA Minneapolis. Thank you all so much for being here. Whether you're a donor, a member, a volunteer, an alum, or just someone who cares about this community, your presence here means something. As Linda said, we're in a season that is very heavy for a lot of us. Across the Twin Cities, families are carrying quiet worry. They worry about immigration enforcement activity. They worry about childcare stability. They worry about what feels uncertain or unsettled. And in moments like this, it's really hard to know where to place your energy or where to even place your trust. Well, for 135 years, YWCA Minneapolis has existed for seasons just like this. When rights were denied, when racism was codified and challenged, when women and girls were told to wait their turn. We have always returned to our mission to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. This mission is not abstract to me. It's the lens through which I make every decision every day as CEO, and it guides our leadership team as well. It shapes how we respond carefully, thoughtfully to what families, members, volunteers, and donors are experiencing right now. And sometimes living that mission requires making decisions that are difficult. And that is also something to name directly. Over the past few years, we have made some very difficult decisions, including the sale of our long-held facilities. We made that decision because we realized that there was great community need, and our best place at that time was to double down and focus on services that would best serve those community needs. I know those decisions caused real pain, and for some of you, those buildings were more than spaces. They were places of community, not just for today. Excuse me, they were places of memory, community, connection. They were places that people belonged. Someone said to me, "This place has been a part of my life for the last 25 years." We hear you, and we did not make that decision lightly. My responsibility as CEO for this organization remains steady and sustainable, not just for today, but for another 125 years. And these decisions that we made were not about stepping away from who we are. They were about protecting it and ensuring that the resources directed toward people, toward programs, toward impact were not just directed towards simply walls. And yes, like most nonprofits, we are navigating financial pressures. That's the nature of our business. We have rising costs, we have changing funding landscapes, there's even increased demand for services. But we are facing those realities with transparency and care, with discipline, and with a deep respect for the trust that each of you places in us. So tonight is about grounding. It's about speaking plainly about what is happening now. And it's about rebuilding connection and trust. It's about sharing how we're responding, not just in theory, but in real time. But it's also about remembering the long arc of this organization, remembering generations of families, women, girls, and community members like you whose lives have been shaped by this work. And as a proud alum of the YWCA of San Bernardino, California, I'm proud to be one of them. Remembering that for 135 years, YWCA Minneapolis has shown up in moments just like this one. So, my friends, in this season when so much feels fractured, we remain anchored in our mission, anchored in community, anchored in the belief that dignity belongs to everyone. And that anchoring is not passive, it's active, it's visible, it's alive in our early childhood classrooms, in our girls and youth programs, in our health and wellness spaces, and in the leadership you will hear from tonight. Before we continue, I'd like to share a short video. It reflects the heart of who we are, not just in this particular moment, but across generations. Enjoy.
My name is Lene. I'm 15 years old. Group is actually good. I like the group. You guys should join. It's very educational. Like, they make us learn stuff and stuff. We do projects. It's like groups. You work with other kids that's younger than you and stuff. You get to be like a role model and a leader for the kids.
My name is Dejanay. I'm 16. What this means to me is somebody that's like, so when somebody younger than us asks us a question about sex education or anything like that, we supposed to know the answer to, so they teach us stuff like that, and we go on field trips and we learn things that we never knew before. And everybody's cool. I love the experience. I try new things. I did it over the summer because it was just a new experience for me, so I said, why not?
My name is Ellie. I'm 13 years old. Stuff I found out about myself being here. I feel like I never knew I could be this confident in front of other people. Like, I'm definitely social, but like not around people I don't know. So it was very comfortable for me. It was very comfortable.
Hi, my name is Abby. I work with part of the Girls and Youth Department at the YWCA. And to me, the YWCA is a place that embodies community. I feel like this is a place that not only draws people in, but also kind of extends into our greater Minneapolis schools community. I love working with the kids in the different schools, and I feel like we bring the mission of the YWCA not only inside this building, inside this space, but beyond as well.
Hi, my name is Elijah, and I'm 9 years old. My favorite part of community is meeting my mom. Letters. It's that you have fun and you can play. ABCs. Words. Math. I like when we go to the park and jet.
To me, YWCA means community, definitely. I grew up just like 15 blocks from here, so my parents, my grandparents all went to the gym here. I remember coming here as a kid, going to swim in the pool or, stuff like that. I started working here about 3 years ago, and it felt like I was coming home. I love working with the community, working with kids that grew up in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. It really makes me feel connected, and like even on the weekends I'll be out and about and see kids that I work with, and it's nice to feel that I'm making a difference in the area that I grew up in. That's my favorite thing.
My name is Sharon Emery. I've been a member since 2008, and I come to Silver Sneakers class 2 or 3 times a week, maybe more some days, because it lifts my mood, it gives me stability, flexibility, and I've met friends.
My name is Fran. I've been a member since 2013. I come to Silver Sneakers and water aerobics. I like the instructors, I like the exercise classes, and I like the people in the exercise classes. And nobody wears leotards or tights. We're all wearing t-shirts and shorts.
My name is Mike Moser. I've been a member of the YWCA since around 2000, I think. There's so much cool stuff going on here, intergenerational stuff, neighborhood stuff. I love seeing the basketball camps, and all the little kids coming from everywhere to work on those skills during the summer. They're just clearly having fun. The little kids haven't learned yet that it's not cool to be having fun. So it's just really nice to see.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that. I'm pleased to welcome our board chair, Sarah Alwalia, who partners closely with me to steward the long-term accountability and direction of YWCA Minneapolis.
I'm Sarah Alawalia, and I have the privilege of serving as the board chair of the YWCA Minneapolis. It is an honor to serve in this role alongside Shelley and her incredible leadership team. I want to echo Shelley and Linda and thank you all for taking the time to be here with us tonight. Our role as a board is governance and stewardship. We do not run the organization. That is Shelley's responsibility as CEO, and we are here to support her in any way that we can. Our responsibility is to ensure that she has the support, accountability, and strategic partnerships necessary to lead this institution faithfully and sustainably. Over the past few years, that has meant walking through difficult decisions together, including the sale of long-held facilities. We know that those decisions were painful for some in our community. But as a board, our responsibility was to ensure that the YWCA Minneapolis remains financially strong and mission-focused for the long term, and not anchored to infrastructure, but anchored to the impact that we have in our community. And yes, as Shelley has stated, we are navigating financial pressures just as many organizations are in our community. Our role is to provide oversight, ask hard questions, ensure accountability, and support responsible decision-making so that Shelley and her team can continue leading with clarity and strength. Here is what I want to say to you very clearly tonight. Our buildings may change, the funding cycles around us may shift, but our values at the YWCA Minneapolis do not change. Our commitment as a board is to steward this mission with integrity so that this organization can continue to show up in moments like this. The work you will hear about tonight, our trauma-informed response, our early childhood education programs, supporting families navigating instability, our girls and youth programs creating spaces of confidence and leadership, and our health and wellness teams fostering physical and emotional well-being is not theoretical. Our role is to ensure that leadership remains supported, accountable, and sustainable. We are steady, we are united, and we are deeply committed to transparency and long-term trust. Thank you for being here. Your engagement strengthens this work, and I'm very, very excited for you that you get to hear the next speakers and about all of the wonderful work that the YWCA Minneapolis does. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Stephanie Thomas, who is our Vice President of Early Childhood Education. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone who came today. I am honored that so many people wanted to join us for to hear about what's going on with us and our programming in our community. I know how busy everyone is, and I truly appreciate that. As Sarah mentioned, I'm Stephanie Thomas, and I work with our early childhood programs and our workforce development programs. And I'm going to take a few minutes today to share what we do in our early childhood centers, how we support and grow the early childhood workforce, how recent immigration enforcement has impacted our families, and clarify some of the public dialogue around program standards and oversight. YWCA Minneapolis has a long history of supporting families and creating strong outcomes for children. We are celebrating our 50th year this year, providing outstanding childcare in this community. We currently operate 5 early childhood centers and 3 in Minneapolis and 2 in St. Paul, and we serve nearly 600 children a year. And, we are so proud of that 50 years of service and all the strong outcomes that we have from that. If you were to walk into any of our centers on any given day, you would really see and feel the connection between our teachers and our students. That connection often extends through the entire family. We work to support families by building resources within our programs and connecting them to outside supports to strengthen their circles of care. After COVID, we recognized that children and families and staff needed stronger supports in self-regulation, a stronger connection to their community, and with a goal of, connecting the community with social responsibility. In response, we were able to create our We Care curriculum. It's a play-based model that helps children build a positive sense of self, understand that they matter, believe that they can learn, and celebrate differences. At the heart of our program, we teach kindness, empathy, and inclusion, and we're very intentional about actually bringing those down to the early childhood levels and putting them into practice. We give children the tools to self-regulate, understand fairness, respect others, and stand up for one another. We build on that foundation with specialty programs like music and movement, and on a monthly visit from the science crew that brings hands-on learning and exploration directly into the classrooms. But we know at the heart of all of that, the teachers are the foundation of our success. We support them through Conscious Disciplines Adult First Mindset training, helping them to build emotionally regulated classrooms where children can thrive. Investing in early learning matters. More than 90% of the children that we work with demonstrate kindergarten readiness. Close to 90% of children who have been with us at least 6 months show age-appropriate development. This far exceeds the statewide average of around 60%. We're really proud of those outcomes. And at this time, we are navigating a really challenging external environment. The increased immigration enforcement has created fear and instability for many families. This has come at the same time as heightened oversight and scrutiny on billing and program standards, as well as uncertainty in federal and state funding. We've had to shift our focus often towards strengthening safety protocols, compliance practices, and family supports. We've been able to offer options for parents who did not feel safe leaving their homes, increased direct resources for families, incorporating classroom conversations about caring for our community, things like peace marches, caring walls, expanding resources for families that are impacted, things like laundry, baby resources, resources for conversations at home. What's happening in our community today is creating real fear and trauma. The impact of that fear will not disappear simply because of immigration tactics lessening. Children, staff, and families will need stronger supports, and our broader community will need healing. Now more than ever, we understand the importance of teaching about celebrating our differences. Our community is our curriculum is intentionally designed to build resilience, empathy, and a sense of belonging. At the same time as all that's going on, We're seeing economic pressures, accountability requirements are increasing, and change in work patterns have affected enrollment across our centers and across the state. Lower enrollment impacts financial sustainability, but more importantly, it impacts children's access to stable, high-quality, early learning environments. As strong as our outcomes are, high-quality programming alone is not enough. Nearly 60% of the families we serve have low incomes. We raise funds each year to ensure they can remain in our programs. A significant portion of assistance that we support families with, those families are navigating the cliff effect as they transition off of public assistance. Early childhood education is also a highly accountable field. Our specialists work really closely with each classroom to conduct assessments, collect data with integrity, and use that information to strengthen our teaching and learning. Beyond serving children directly, we're helping strengthen Minnesota's early childhood workforce. Our early childhood teacher training program has operated for more than 10 years and serves participants statewide. The program helps educators earn their Child Development Associate credential, a nationally recognized certification, while strengthening their knowledge in YWCA's self-reflective practice. Over 6 to 9 months, the participants engage in biweekly sessions. They work in early childhood settings. They build teaching portfolios, develop foundational employment skills. And throughout that program, we provide life supports, cover testing costs, assist them through certification. And last year alone, we worked with more than 100 participants. One of those participants, Therese, shared with us, the biggest thing I've learned is that every child learns in their own unique way. As educators, it's our job to meet them where they are, not where we think they should be. To be honest with that quote from our participant always really gets me because it's really the heart of our work. Educators around the state who understand their impact and the power of early childhood education will improve outcomes for children. The impact of workforce development is twofold. We help low-income participants, who are often female, enter stable employment, while strengthening the pipeline of high-quality educators across 13 counties. Early childhood education is essential in every community. While recent state investments have helped, it is increasingly difficult to staff classrooms and meet the rising costs of operating a high-quality center. We are proud of the children and the families that we have served over the last 50 years. To continue this work to support children, families, and educators, we need sustained investment in both early childhood programs and our workforce initiatives. In this unprecedented time, the YWCA's work is so important, and we are here to continue to make a difference with our community. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate your time. And I'm here to welcome Andrew Hasla, who supports our health and wellness programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, everybody. I am Andrew Hasala. I'm the General Manager of Health and Wellness at YWCA Minneapolis. I really want to take a moment just to thank you all for taking the time to be here this evening. It really means a lot to everybody on the panel and our organization. We are a community hub because we believe that wellness is a right and not a privilege here at YWCA Minneapolis. Our programs are designed to foster connection and ensure that everyone, regardless of age, income, or background, has the opportunity to thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. We serve more than 10,000 members here at Midtown, and by being a member of YWCA Minneapolis, you are supporting disparity reduction. Our community includes young adults, families, seniors, and people at every stage of life. Many of our members are our neighbors right here on Lake Street, but others come from farther away. Often that's because their peers here reflect the community around us. One of my favorite stories that shows the impact that we make on our members is from one of our senior members, Julie. Julie joined the YWCA Minneapolis, and she had no exercise background. Her doctor told her that to fight aging, she needed to adopt an exercise routine. So I helped her start her free Silver Sneakers membership here. and I showed her where she could do some of her exercises that the doctor recommended. After a few months that went by, I got a call from a member to assist them on the fitness floor. And when I arrived, Julie was standing there right next to one of the machines that I had showed her with a puzzled look on her face. She told me that machine was broken. Now, I checked the machine and everything did seem just fine, but Julie told me that every time she comes into the facility, she does 10 pounds on that machine. And today she was doing 20 pounds and there wasn't any real resistance. Now, I smiled and I just reassured Julie that there were no real issues with the machine, and I told her that she's just getting stronger and she really needs to increase the weight next time she visits. Julie was beyond embarrassed and could not stop laughing every time she saw me in the facility for the next few weeks. I share Julie's story because making fitness accessible takes real investment. Of our 10,000 members, only around 3,000 are regular dues paying members. That means that the majority of our members rely on scholarships, insurance-based memberships, or community-supported access. Last fiscal year, we provided 490 fitness membership scholarships, and that was totaling more than $88,000. And this was to ensure equitable access to health and wellness resources for our community. We provide a free year of membership to all families in early childhood education programs and to many of the families in our youth programs in the YWCA Minneapolis. We provide a safe, welcoming space to move and connect, and we do this because wellness is a right and not a privilege. Scholarships are just one of the tools that we use to make wellness accessible. We focus on physical, financial, and cultural access, from insurance-based memberships for seniors to zero-depth pool entry to bilingual group fitness classes. Our commitment to seniors is noteworthy. Silver Sneakers for us is not a major revenue stream, but these members are essential to our community. Studies show that there is a connection between regular exercise and cognitive decline, and we see this play out every day in our facility. It's not just physical exercise. Our senior members also benefit from grabbing a cup of coffee in our common area after workouts, and many see self-care as exercise, not self-care and exercise as isolationism. Here, we embrace it as collectivism. By choosing to engage with our space, our members are embracing many dimensions of wellness. And as some of our peers around the metro area have stepped away from welcoming and supporting these memberships, we continue to invest into them. Another way that we serve our community is by operating the Minneapolis Sports Center, which is physically connected to our building off of Lake Street. We operate the Sports Center in tandem with the Minneapolis Public Schools, and it's one of the reasons we are such a powerful community hub. The center gives us space to host events like the largest futsal tournament in the Midwest, free youth basketball camps, including camps featuring NBA players, women's basketball leagues, including one of the most competitive summer basketball leagues for collegiate athletes. But beyond sports, our space has supported faith-based community athletic events and a Hmong New Year celebration that drew over 600 people. We realize that sports connect people. They help us demonstrate how fitness is a right and not a privilege. We've embraced their power for a long time. Our former downtown facility was the first gym in the state where women's basketball teams could practice. From elite athletes to families looking for fun ways to move together, and to seniors who find community within these halls, we are proud of how we serve the Lake Street and Midtown community. Right now, though, our community is struggling. Many of our members who would be potential targets of ICE have stopped coming into the facility altogether. We've had family members call us to cancel their loved one's gym membership because the individual has been detained and nobody knows where they are. In our community, we find strength. We have members that are willing to volunteer as neighborhood watch, donate supplies to those in need, and create first aid kits for protesters. We have leaned in on our support of the Lake Street businesses to share resources and information during these difficult times. All that being said, the YWCA Minneapolis continues to stand strong in our mission, and it will always stand tall as a vibrant community hub in the Midtown area. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I would like to now welcome Katie Rahani, who is the Vice President of Girls and Youth at the YWCA Minneapolis, to share more about what makes our youth programming so special.
Thank you, Andrew. My name is Katie Rahani, and I'm proud to be part of the legacy of Girls and Youth programs at YWCA Minneapolis. For decades, our Girls and Youth Department has been part of the dynamic youth development field in the Twin Cities. We're part of the ecosystem of support, working with parents, schools, and other partners to ensure that together we're creating space and opportunity for youth to thrive. Our programs advance systemic change in schools and communities by promoting the value of youth's lived experiences, their identities, and their diverse perspectives. This past year, we served over 1,300 youth in kindergarten through 12th grade at 25 locations. YWCA seeks to serve those who have been strategically undervalued and therefore experience greater disparities than their peers. So of the 1,300 plus youth that we served, 84% identify as a person of color, 84% come from a low-income household, 65% are girls, and 5% are gender nonconforming. At YWCA Minneapolis, we have 8 unique programs, all serving youth in a range of ways. Each program has its own model. So from STEM education to sexual health education, we really have something for everybody. Even though each is different in who it serves and how they do it, there's common threads to all of our programs. First is safety. From physical to emotional, it's critical that youth have a space that they feel safe, where their needs are met and where they get to show up authentically. It's a gift to create space where basic needs are met, so youth can explore their sense of self, their identity, and their place in this world. Right now, many young people in our community do not feel safe. Their families are vulnerable, their lives have been altered. Instead of being able to focus on kids' stuff, they're worried about leaving their home, having food on the table, knowing that their family will remain intact. And remember that this didn't just start. Last spring, when immigration enforcement first ramped up, a number of students shifted to remote learning. When that happens, they don't get to take part in their after-school program. We had a high school participant at South High School call their youth counselor, and they said, "I miss group. Do you think it's safe for me to come to school so I can go to group?" The staff person couldn't reassure her, could not guarantee safety, and instead could only guide her towards resources to help her make an informed decision for herself. But when safety is created and authenticity is the norm, it leads to that sense of community, belonging, and leadership, all core principles of our youth programs. In our programs, we equip youth with the skills and the experiences to nurture their confidence, and we develop their power to be leaders in their lives and their communities. When people feel like they belong, they're more likely to hold each other accountable, to name what they want, and to work towards improvement for their community. Safety, community, belonging, leadership. This arc makes me think of Hannah. Hannah's a student in our Youth in Action group. She's a shy girl. She's really just happy to be there. I've spent time with her a few times, and when she's present, and while she's present, she doesn't often contribute that much. Last year, I went with the group to Youth Day at the Capitol, and they were meeting with Senator Zainab Mohammed. Towards the end, Hannah surprised me by speaking up and making a point in the presentation. As we were leaving, I excitedly nudged her and I said, "I'm so proud of you." And she said, "I'm proud of me too." This is an example of a young person who typically doesn't speak up, but through our program, she developed that sense of community for whom she advocated on behalf of, and the safety of that group and that space allowed her to take a risk and to use her voice when she otherwise wouldn't have. These are the building blocks that form our YWCA Minneapolis youth programs. Not to be missed in all of this is the cool stuff that they get to do every day, the stuff that young people should be doing. They use 3D printers, program robots, create dream boards, they learn to swim, they take cooking classes. These are the activities that open youth up to new ideas, and it just allows them to be kids. All of this is talking about how we develop young people to be strong community members who lead with empathy. And in turn, I ask, how do you show up for them? A Strong Fast Fit participant came to program at Midtown, and they said to their youth counselor, "Most of my friends have to stay home right now. Is there something I can do to help my friends?" I've reflected on this quote so many times. It goes back to the thing I said earlier. It's a gift for us to create space where needs are met so youth can explore their sense of self, their identity, and their place in this world. And right now, so many are not getting the chance to do that. They're home, they're scared, and they're wondering about their future. I see this as that call to action to the adults in the community. At YWCA, we see it as our responsibility to stand up for what is right, to live our values, and to shoulder the burden so young people know that they are part of a community that sees and supports them. Because when all their needs are met and youth are given that chance to explore and to dream, they start to see a future for themselves, a future that both reflects their uniqueness and that is built on togetherness. Thank you all for being here with us tonight, and I'm going to pass it back to Shelley for some final words.
Thank you, Katie. and thank all of you for being here tonight. At YWCA Minneapolis, we serve our community from birth and our infants in our child care centers to the seniors in our fitness centers and our youth in between. Thank you. Thank you for supporting us in doing this work. And as you can see, Linda has been gathering questions from a number of you, and so I am going to turn it over to her to moderate for us.
Thank you, Shelley. The first question is for you. And what is one thing you wish more people understood about the YWCA right now?
That no matter the challenge, no matter the uncertainty, no matter the forces that our community finds itself up against, YWCA Minneapolis is there. We stand tall, we stand strong, we meet the challenges that threaten our community head on. We've done it for 135 years as an organization. We are celebrating our 25th year in our Midtown location at Lake and Hiawatha, and we will be here for another 100 years.
Great. Katie, I have a question for you. What are you seeing day to day from youth who are feeling afraid right now, and how is your program responding?
I think it's important to first name that our youth are feeling afraid right now, and also so are many of our staff and then the parents. So it's really difficult when you're supporting young people when the adults are also feeling that fear. So I think first we're acknowledging that in our teams. We're trying to equip people with trainings, networks of support, and just to settle them in so that they can be that strong support for young people. And then with young people and what we're seeing, it's twofold. One, there's still a whole group of youth that are present and able to come, and they still deserve and need to be served. So we're still showing up for them and providing our programs. And then for those who can't come or are experiencing fear, it's important to acknowledge how they're feeling, to let them know they're safe when they are safe. Grounding people in safety when they're feeling that lack of safety is really critical, particularly with young people. And then it's also to remind them that we're there for them, even when we aren't seeing them. Our Contact Plus team recently put together some like notes and care kits that went home in weekend care packages that were sent home by schools, where our Strong Fast Fit staff are calling all the families to see what they need and if we can connect them to anything. And I would also say the kids that are in program, they're thinking about ways to support their peers. I was saying a little bit of that earlier. Our Youth in Action students at South High School, they shifted their community action project this spring to a donation drive, which is happening right now at YWCA Midtown, to refill the resource pantry at South High School so that families all throughout that school can access that, or staff can put them together, packages together to get home to families so that they have their needs met.
Thank you, Katie. I think this could go Katie, Stephanie, actually even to Andrew. What barriers are preventing families from accessing our programs?
I can start. I mean, anecdotally, again, Strong Fast Fit, they called home, program restarted. We don't have a student coming. Their mother's undocumented and can't physically drive their child safely to program. So some of the barriers is that a parent can't safely get their child to program, and they don't feel like they don't want to send their child out on public transit or things like that, not being able to guarantee their safety. For my programs, that's the most significant thing.
I can jump in on Katie's. I think that all the things that Katie said are also true for early childhood, both staff and families. We also have, the other barriers of families feeling safe turning in their information to the state to be able to receive public assistance. There's a lot of questions around that right now. And so, that creates a greater need for assistance, for payment assistance. Also, some of the assistance forms that people get, both Hennepin County and Pathways, are closed to new people right now, based on where the state funding for those programs are. So, that's also Their transportation is in the same ways that Katie said, people feeling safe in public transportation, people feeling safe actually on random days leaving, their home. So that varies for people. And then the impact on employment if they can't go, to work. So I think all of those are factors. And I would say that while the fear may have been meant to serve undocumented people, it goes far beyond that. So, many of the people that we're serving and that are on staff feel unsafe for those reasons, and it has nothing to do with being undocumented, but around the community unsafety that they're seeing and feeling in the communities that they're in.
Thank you. Interesting question, I think, for you, Katie. What are some ways to engage my teens with volunteer work and help them feel a tangible connection with the community in need, especially since the ICE crisis started?
Yeah, that is interesting. And I see Jolie had a question earlier also about volunteer engagement and just how we could be involved. There's a number of ways to get involved, and some of it is let's talk about it and figure out the way if you have an idea or a way that we can support you with plugging your teens into the program. One that comes to mind right off the bat is every weekday from 4 to 6 o'clock or 4 to 7 o'clock. We have a group of young people at YWCA Midtown for our Strong Fast Fit program. And we have somebody who's there to cook and serve dinner every single day. It's typically our staff that's doing it. But if you want to be of service in our programs, a great volunteer opportunity would be to cook dinner and then sit and have dinner with young people. You can get to know them, hear their stories, and that's an easy way to plug in. Equally, if cooking's not your thing, if you want to come and play some group games with us, be in the gym, we will always take more hands and welcome that. It's nice to add more people into the mix. And again, when you're doing something active, whether it's playing or eating together, that's going to build that relationship.
Now, I also will just add to that too. We have our triathlon coming up. We need 400 volunteers for that. We have monthly opportunities for diaper drives, just to be delivering diapers to our early childhood education facilities. We have a new corporate and community engagement manager. So for those of you that are, because I've got a few questions around volunteering, go be checking Volunteer Hub. We're going to be making that more robust and adding some more opportunities there. Shelley, I have a question for you. What are the biggest financial pressures you're navigating, and where could community support make the most difference?
Well, the two areas that immediately come to mind is the impact that this has had on early childhood education, and both ICE and the economy. There have been tremendous layoffs in our community, and as you know, those disproportionately fall on women. And so we have people who can't afford childcare, or so that they can go out and find another job. We also have families who cannot leave their homes, as Stephanie pointed out, for fear of one or both of the parents being detained. And so as a result, because so many of our families, 60% are on assistance, if they don't come to childcare, we don't get paid, which is a huge financial impact to us and impacts our ability to provide services to our other families. In addition, as some of you have heard, Minnesota has been a target of the current administration's threats to freeze federal funding. And we were very fortunate this year that the Senate actually upheld the Child Care Development Grant, as well as the 21st Century Grant, which funds some of our girls and youth programs just for this year. But there are threats of freezes for those programs. And so we are constantly worrying that will affect us as well. And then one of the things we've had to do is almost shift back to sort of COVID-like work, which means trying to serve families at home with STEM kits and recording books and providing formula and diapers and food for families. And so any resources that you can provide. My one friend, Marcy, said to me, well, this isn't my season of protest. She said, I'm a woman of color, I'm a target, so it's very risky for me to be out there physically protesting. But this is my season of service. And so I'm happy to come help, do laundry. I am happy to contribute financially so that you can provide supplies for these families. I'm happy to contribute financially to help sustain the programming that you have. I will record myself reading books to children. I will volunteer in other ways. So I think we are facing some serious challenges. We have faced them before. We faced them head on. But I think with the support of the members of our community, like those of you who took the time out to listen to us tonight, we'll be okay.
What support, I think maybe this is both Katie and Steph too. What support are you getting from trauma-informed education? We hear that social workers are few and far between.
I mean, specific to this immediate need, there are resources that we're able to share with families around social stories and ways that they can have conversations with their children. And they've been put out by various groups working with teens and youth. And so we're able to share that with our families. And I would say the same with many community organizations are putting together lists of places that people can call or connect with around rent support or other supports. I think as a general statement, trauma support, mental health support, those type of supports for families is an ongoing need within our community that is that there's not enough service for. And so we work within our programs to have conversations with families to understand what their needs are and how we can help support those needs. And often that's something that we can individually gather or donate or help a family to alleviate some of their stress. And then we also keep lists of resources to be able to connect them outside of our program to resources that they may need or supports that they may need. One of the other things that we're able to do within our program, and Katie is too, is that a big part of social emotional support is feeling safe and feeling a sense of belonging. And both of our programs work within the curriculum and the programming to give people that sense of belonging and that sense of safety within the program itself. Now, that doesn't necessarily help for when they're outside of the program, but at least it's a connection for them to have that why we're here. And then often that safe space to be able to speak about their needs and then hopefully connect them to the resources. I will say that for childcare, the state, again, in the last year and a half, so not necessarily connected to this, has done some work. It's very limited and you get it for, I think, 6 months, but some work to support teaching staff in social emotional aspects. And so I think that can actually impact their programming and the way that they work with families. And one of the things that we did since COVID is really take on conscious discipline within our program to build social emotional self-regulation skills within our teachers that then translate into what they're building in the children. So if we can build some of that self-regulation, some of that pride and sense of self, it gives them better skills to manage through some of the stress that they're working with on an ongoing basis. So those are some of the things that we're continuing to work on. I'm not sure I answered your question, but hopefully I caught part of it there for you.
Great. You got anything to add, Katie, or do you feel like that?
Briefly, I just think knowing that our youth counselors are trained in trauma-informed care, and it's the tenets that Steph just spoke about. And even just last week, we did a training on trauma-informed leadership and supervision. So really trying to think about how do we, again, top down, how are we integrating it into our full department being responsive and trauma informed in our approaches. Working with social workers, that happens at schools. So there, when we have school-based programs, there's certainly that relationship that can happen, but it's really like, how do you bring those principles into your program that root everybody in that sense of safety?
Andrew, I got a question for you. What does it mean in practical terms to say wellness is a right, not a privilege?
Great question. At YWCA Minneapolis, especially at Midtown, we really try and make our facility and all of its amenities accessible to everyone. I threw out a number in there, we have roughly 3,000 regular dues paying members and around 10,000 active members. That means that, it's nearly 7,000 members pay either a reduced sliding scale fee for their membership on a monthly basis or to pay no dues at all. And that's what we mean. We want to make sure that wellness and all of our amenities are accessible to our community, regardless of, the income barriers or the perceived income barriers to having a somewhat, a fitness membership, which to some people is a luxury. We want to make sure that everybody has the ability to have access to that.
Great. And Shelley, I have one last question before we're 3 minutes left. Is what brings you hope right now?
The way everyone has rallied to stand behind their neighbors in our community. I was leaving the parking lot and I saw we have South High School is a block away. And I was leaving the parking lot and it was like 20 below. And there were people standing on the street corners with their whistles at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to make sure the children getting off the school buses in our community get home safely, that our high school students from South High can walk through, can cut through our parking lot, can get home safely. And the fact that everyone in our community is reaching out in a myriad of ways. We're being incredibly creative, we're supportive of one another. That's what gives me hope.
I hope you all know that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for every one of you, whether or not you're a member, a gym member, a donor, a board member, a former board member, a community activist.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you so much for the support you have provided to YWCA Minneapolis these many years. And please, please continue to think of us as your partner, particularly in this time of need. And let's all make sure that we take care of one another.